Today's show is brought to you by two of our favorite organizations, the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh and the Allegheny County Library Association. September marks 10 years of their joint program, Love Your Library. It's really a county-wide celebration where your donation during the month of September will be partially matched and helps keep essential services going. So everything from books and materials to facility improvements and programs for all. If you use the library system, show your love and donate now at loveyourlibrary.org. CityCast Pittsburgh is supported today by the Heinz History Center and their newest exhibition, Pittsburgh's Hidden History. It is a cornucopia of curiosity, a magical menagerie of memory, and a little bit of this and that. There are flowery couches, relics from Kennywood, even a collection of shivs. If you listen to this show a lot, you know we are loving this. It is truly mind-boggling to see how the curators brought together such a wide range of rarely seen artifacts to tell Pittsburgh stories like never before. To buy your tickets and learn more, visit HeinzHistoryCenter.org. Today on CityCast Pittsburgh, there is a proposal to take a stretch of Penn Avenue in the Strip District down to one lane of car traffic to make room for a bike lane. It has gotten some pushback, but for people who want to explore the city by bike and are maybe a little nervous about the traffic, riding alongside cars, or even just our hills, the rules about how to navigate our city can be kind of confusing. Today, CityCast executive producer Mallory Falk is talking to a biking expert who has got advice for cyclists and drivers alike about what's allowed and how we can all get around more safely here in Pittsburgh. It's Wednesday, September 24th. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about.
So I'm leading today's episode as the resident biker on the team, but before we get into the show, I wanted to bring on our host extraordinaire, Megan Harris, because today is actually the start of our fall membership campaign.
Woo woo. Yes, we are so excited to be talking about this for the next few days, why you should become a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor and what you're going to support. Plus, there's a lot of special perks. You're going to get to talk about the perks too.
Yeah, we are just really proud that this daily podcast is free for anyone to listen to. That's really, really important to us. We want everybody to be able to access our podcast and also our Hey Pittsburgh newsletter.
But we need your support to make that happen, to keep providing what we hope is a true service to the community as long as we possibly can.
Yes, so you can support us for just $10 a month or $100 a year by becoming a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor, and you can do that at membership.citycast.fm.
I don't know how long y'all have been listening, but, our driving force here at CityCast is really to help you, our listeners, get to know the city better, to learn about its past and present, and also to find new friends and neighbors, literally neighbors, so you can take advantage of all the special things that Pittsburgh has to offer, and then use that knowledge to push for Pittsburgh to be even better than it is now.
I think today's episode is actually a great example of what we're trying to do here. So it's got practical tips for getting out and exploring the city by bike. It includes information about how Pittsburgh could become more bike friendly, what it could be doing better. And then it has information about how you could plug into bike advocacy work if that is something that's important to you.
Which I would argue matters, no matter how you get around the city. I am not a bike commuter anymore. I haven't been for a while, but I still want my friends and my neighbors who are to be safe. I also don't want to inadvertently put them in any danger as a driver because I don't know or maybe forgot how the rules work. That's why this stuff is important.
Yes, Megan, if you're driving alongside me, I would like us both to be safe in that situation.
Yes, we all have to know the rules.
So if you value episodes like this, if you've ever tried something new or learned something new because of a CityCast Pittsburgh episode, please consider becoming a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor. You'll be supporting a team of Pittsburghers who make this show happen every day, and we hope bring you lots of joy and lots of critical information.
And, at least something to talk about at a party, too. You can head over to membership.citycast.fm to learn all about it. Again, that is membership.citycast.fm. Now, on to today's show.
I'm with Ted King-Smith, Education Manager at Bike Pittsburgh. Hey, Ted.
Hello.
So just to start us off here, do you think that Pittsburgh is a bike-friendly city?
I think it is. And I was just on a bike ride with a friend of mine right before recording this. And she said she was told that someone who used to live in Portland said that Pittsburgh's an even better place to bike in Portland these days. So I can't confirm or deny that.
Wow, that's the ultimate stamp of approval.
But anecdotally, I feel like every year I bike in Pittsburgh, it seems more relaxing. It seems more enjoyable. I see more people doing it. There's more infrastructure. It's easier to navigate. It's easier to get from point A to point B. And we just have such amazing amenities for biking here, the network of river trails to the on-street bike infrastructure. You can have an amazing bike ride anywhere in the city. It's a great place to bike. So yes, bike friendly, absolutely.
So why should people who haven't taken up biking in the city yet, why should they consider biking here, both for fun, but also for commuting, getting to work, to the grocery store, just to all the daily places you need to hit up?
It's more fun than driving is. You get some exercise, you get your heart rate up a little bit, you get to breathe some fresh air. You get to see the sights, you get to smell the smells, you get to hear the sounds of the things around you. You can be really engaged with the world around you. If you see someone, if you see a friend on the side of the road, you can pull over and you can say hi, and chat for a little bit if you want. If you could stop in and grab a cup of coffee on your commute and pop back on your bike and keep going. You can stop by the grocery store on the way home, right? To me, once you've bike commuted, you realize it's easier than you think it will be. It's more fun than you think it would have been. And it just opens up opportunities that something that is a chore, that's drudgery sometimes when you're driving, you're trying to find a parking space, or you're running late, or you're having to fill up your gas tank again, right? When you're biking, you're freed from a lot of this stuff. It's in a lot of ways, it's a much more simple and a much more elegant and can be a less stressful way to get around.
That stressful piece is interesting because I definitely have friends who have said it seems like such a nice way to take in the scenery and be in the fresh air, but the thought of riding alongside cars stresses me out, or I have no idea if I can actually make it up the hills here. The city has just such intense terrain. So what do you just say to people who are curious about biking, but are a little bit nervous to get on the road?
Try it out on the weekend. Try it out with your friends. Just go for a casual bike ride without the stakes of having to arrive at work, and just test it out. See if it works. See how you feel on that hill, right? Often there's a route that's going to be less steep that will get you to the same place. Might be a little bit longer, and then you factor that in. Just, be easy on yourself. Give yourself a lot of time. Find a day with a good forecast to try it out. And if you like it, then figure out how you can work it into your routine and do it more often.
Paying attention to what hill you might encounter makes a lot of sense. The first time I tried bike commuting here, I went up Stanton and realized that was very ambitious and I wasn't quite ready for a hill that steep yet. So that's very smart. But I'm curious, your recommendations for how to even go about planning your route. What resources should you use? Is Google Maps a reliable way to find the best route? How should people go about doing that?
That's a great question. So I'll call out some of our resources at Bike Pittsburgh. We just released the 10th version of our Pittsburgh bike map this past May. And that map shows where all of the on-street bike infrastructure is in the city. Also, crucially, it points out some places where there is not bike infrastructure, but are roads that you really might need to use to connect one neighborhood to another. So we call those cautionary bike routes. So we want people to know that you can use those roads. Really, you can use all the roads unless they're limited access highways. But we want people to be aware of places where they might need to use a little bit extra caution, and then show people where good bike infrastructure is so that they can really prioritize those routes when they're moving around. And looking at that map is a great way to do it. Google Map bicycling directions. Don't use the car directions if you're bicycling. Use the bicycling directions.
Crucial advice here.
But double check your Google Map directions with the Pittsburgh bike map. And just do a comparison and see, okay, Google might be sending me on the fastest route, but are they sending me on the route with the most bike infrastructure? If you want a more relaxed route, try and maybe go a block out of the way to find the on-street bike lanes, protected bike lanes. We have a type of infrastructure in Pittsburgh called a neighborway, which is like a traffic calmed back street. It's like an alleyway, but nicer. Mm-hmm. And those are amazing commuting thoroughfares in the city of Pittsburgh. So the Coral Street neighborway gets you across Friendship. The Reynolds Street neighborway gets you across Point Breeze instead of taking Penn Avenue. Actually, both of those streets avoid Penn Avenue. And then the last resource that I would point out is that we have a very active Reddit community around biking in Pittsburgh. So it's called Biking 412. And that is a really great place to ask questions and get really hyper local answers about your commute in your neighborhood. You're going to get a lot of opinions, but a consensus will emerge. Usually people have figured out the best way through a certain neighborhood to get to another neighborhood. And I think that's a really great resource to get some like really tailored information just for you or for where you live or where you're going.
Yeah, that's great to know about, because it does seem like sometimes you'll be in one neighborhood that has really great bike infrastructure and then it just drops off and you're on your own. And so figuring out how to get across the city and not just from one side of the neighborhood to another can be tricky.
And you might also find that the safest, best, most comfortable way to do that commute could be to take a bus for part of the commute. If it's a very long commute, every PRT bus has a rack for 2 bikes on it. So you might find that I used to commute to McKeesport, for instance, right? So I was biking to the busway and then I'd rack up my bike and I could take the bus. And then I was actually able to, if I felt up to it, I could ride the gap all the way back. So there are things you could do to be multimodal and get even further or make that commute as relaxing as possible.
If somebody wants to get comfortable on their bike, are there any routes or neighborhoods in Pittsburgh you think are especially good for beginners, like somewhere with really good protected bike lanes, for example?
I mean, I really think that the Forbes Ave protected bike lanes that were implemented across the Fern Hollow Bridge have made what used to be a fairly scary road to ride on into a very comfortable one. So you can bike, and this is a great place to practice climbing hills as well. It's a steady uphill, it's a steady downhill. It's all in a protected bike lane that gets you from Squirrel Hill to Regent Square and back. So, and it's straight. So I think that's a good road to connect you to the kind of original Pittsburgh bike lane, which is the Beechwood Boulevard bikeway.
That's the OG?
That's the OG, yeah. So the 3 original ones, we can call these all out too, because these are great places to bike, is the Beechwood Boulevard bikeway, the Riverview Park loop, where there's bike lanes around the entire park, and then also the Highland Park loop. So I'd say all 3 of those are great places to just go out. And then another good option is the Negley Run Boulevard protected bike lane can take you from the East Liberty Boulevard bike lanes all the way down to the Washington Boulevard bike track, the Bud Harris cycling track. And then you can ride around that track too, which is a great place to just practice. And there's a large infield to practice too.
Yeah, that's removed from all the traffic. Yeah.
So there's a lot of great amenities.
The picketers who stand outside Planned Parenthood health centers are bullies, plain and simple. They try to shame healthcare providers and volunteers and shame patients. They also spread lies and misinformation. More than 3,300 picketers stand outside Planned Parenthood of Western Pennsylvania health centers each year. Well, October is National Bullying Prevention Month, so let's do something about it. This fall, PPWP is relaunching the Pledge a Picketer program, the easiest way to fight back directly against every one of these protesters outside. You select a monthly gift level, which is based on the number of picketers outside PPWP health centers. And for 1 year, you've ensured that every anti-abortion extremist outside also helps keep Planned Parenthood open. It's the perfect way to stand up to bullies compromising access to healthcare. Join the PPWP Pledge a Picketer program and be part of this powerful direct response to extremist attacks on healthcare. Visit bit.ly/PPWPCitycast. That's bit.ly/PPWPCitycast.
Learning a new language opens the door to new friends, new cultures, maybe even a whole new life. So why not start that journey today? I'm CityCast CEO David Plotz, and I'm learning Spanish with Babbel. Babbel's conversation-based technique quickly teaches you useful words and phrases about the things you actually talk about in the real world. I've been practicing my Spanish with Babbel's AI conversation partner. I can choose my conversation topic and have a real-time dialogue. It's great at helping me think on my feet, and it's improving my pronunciation. Also, it's really easy to do anytime on my phone using Babbel's excellent mobile app. It's just one of the many fantastic Babbel tools for learning. Plus, Babbel has a real-time feedback, progress trackers, and handy visualizations, all of which make it really easy to stay motivated to learn. I want you to learn another language. So CityCast is teaming up with Babbel to gift you 55% off subscriptions, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/citycast. Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/citycast. Spelled BABBEL.com/citycast. Babbel.com/citycast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Hello, producer Sophia Lowe here. You know from listening to this show that we love our city, and we love helping you understand the big issues and the fun stuff so you can deeply engage with Pittsburgh too. But the only reason this show works is because of you. You're tuning in because you're genuinely invested in the local conversation. So if I had to guess, you're probably someone who shops local whenever you can. You may have signed a petition or two to help your neighbors. You've got your library card on your keyring, and you're the first in line whenever there's an up-and-coming restaurant in the city. And if this does sound like you, I'd like to invite you to join CityCast Pittsburgh Neighbors. It's our membership program, all designed to help folks like you, people who care about our community. You'll get invites to members-only events, and people have left with phone numbers and new friends. You'll also get our curated weekly roundup of the best things to do in the city and help you plan ahead. Plus, you'll get the chance to share what you love about Pittsburgh on our podcast and newsletter. Your membership directly supports the people making this podcast. Thank you, and we want to be around for a long time so we can keep bringing you the local stories that matter. Become a CityCast Pittsburgh member for just $10 a month or $100 a year. You can sign up at membership.citycast.fm. That's membership.citycast.fm. Thank you so much in advance, and a little added bonus, now through October 3rd, when you sign up, you get this awesome tote bag. It says, "Members make Pittsburgh because it's true." When our neighbors show up, our community thrives. Join today and get the tote bag at membership.citycast.fm.
Before we get back into the episode, I am here again with our show host, Megan Harris, to remind you of all the great perks you get by becoming a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor. Because yes, you are supporting us, keeping the show going, but we know a little perk can be important to sweeten the deal.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who listens to CityCast Pittsburgh knows how much we appreciate a little treat. So first of all, you get invited to members-only events. Those are opportunities to hang out with us, the CityCast Pittsburgh team, plus other neighbors. So people who are as plugged in as you are.
We have seen friendships form at these member-only events. It's such a great opportunity.
So cute.
Yeah, to meet other people who are really passionate about this city. And, you know, we try to make our events not just very fun, but very Pittsburgh. So we are getting ready here to send out the invite for our next members-only event that's happening in October. It will be at an iconic local spot. Going to build a little bit of suspense here. If you want to learn more, become a member today.
Yeah, you don't want to miss it. So if you sign up right now at pittsburgh.citycast.fm, you can still snag that invitation. It is forthcoming. We are so excited to announce it.
Yes, and then there are other great perks too, like neighbors get ad-free listening, which means 3 minutes of your life back. Plus, you don't get those other recommended podcasts in your feed, which I know has really been a motivating force for some of our neighbors. And you also get a weekly email with hand-picked events from all over the city so that you can kind of plan ahead for your week and get out in the community.
Yeah, and then just a couple more perks that I personally love. You do get an opportunity to shout out a local business, an organization, a nonprofit, a breakfast sandwich, whatever you love. You can send it to us. We will talk about it. We will do our homework too, and we'll share it on the podcast and the newsletter. Plus, we also do members-only ticket giveaways. Like, for example, right now, members can enter to win free tickets to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. Free tickets to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like, it's a really cool thing.
And if all of these perks still don't have you sold, anybody who becomes a neighbor during this fall membership campaign gets an extra special limited edition Neighbors Make Pittsburgh tote bag. That's the theme of this whole campaign. The idea that when neighbors show up, our city thrives, and you can have a very chic tote bag.
I'm looking at a picture of the tote bag now. We do not have it in our hands, but we're very excited to send it out as soon as Yins join. It says Neighbors Make Pittsburgh. I am told it is quite sturdy, so good for your groceries. We really want to send it to y'all, so please take a moment to sign up.
Yes, help keep this show going and let us shower you with all of the perks. You can join right now for $10 a month or $100 a year at membership.citycast.fm. Once again, that is membership.citycast.fm.
Now back to the show.
Now you've decided you're going to give this a try. You're going to get on the road. What are the main rules of the road? Like, do you need to follow the same rules that cars do? Are there times when you're more of a pedestrian? What's like the big overview that people should know?
So that's a very good question, and something that there is a lot of misunderstanding about. What are the rules of the road regarding a bicycle? And there is actually a Pennsylvania State Bicycle Driver's Manual that PennDOT produces, or at least has produced, that you can find if you look it up online on the PennDOT website. But there is a vehicle code which governs bicycles. And essentially, most of the same rules of the road for cars, bikes have to follow as well, with a couple exceptions. So for the most part, you're driving in the same direction as traffic. You're driving on the road.
Not on the sidewalk, yeah.
Not the sidewalk. But generally, sidewalk riding is illegal in business districts where it's indicated. But outside of that, it's a gray area. It's legal. But importantly, you have a right to the road. So this is something that Bike Pittsburgh wrote an amicus brief in a recent PA State Supreme Court case defending the cyclist's right to be on the road and stay on the road, even if there are drivers behind them that feel inconvenienced, right? You still have a right to the road. So
there's not like driver supremacy here necessarily.
No, there is not. You're following the same traffic controls that cars do, stopping at stop signs, stopping at red lights. Now, we would like to see different laws. In Idaho, there is what's called Idaho Stop, where a cyclist can treat a stop sign as a yield, so yielding the right of way if necessary, and then going. Treating red lights as stop signs, so stopping, and then if you have the right of way because the intersection is clear, you can continue.
Which I think a lot of people kind of do informally here, even if it's not legal.
Correct. It is not legal. You can get ticketed for running a red light, for running a stop sign. So we would like those laws to be changed to make cycling just easier, and also to formalize and legalize something that a lot of cyclists already do. Also, you're using the turning lane for the turn that you're making. So if you're making a right turn, you should be in the right lane. If you're going straight, you should be in a straight facing lane. If you're making a left turn, you need to be over to the left, with the exception that you can also make a two-stage turn, which means you go straight through an intersection, and then you reorient yourself, and then you go straight again, as opposed to merging over to a left turning lane. And then where the laws are different is there is bicycle-only facilities, so bike lanes. We're allowed to bike in bike lanes. Mm-hmm. Cars are not allowed to drive in bike lanes. We're allowed to be on bike paths. Cars are not allowed to be on the bike paths. So we have a couple of additional, let's say, rights to use some infrastructure and some facilities that cars are not allowed to use, which is great. Go bikes. That's why we ride them, right, so that we have access to things. Mm-hmm. And then as far as being treated as a pedestrian, when you dismount your bike to walk it across an intersection, you become a pedestrian, right? So that's kind of the gray area there. So for instance, technically, when there is an all walk at an intersection where both sides get to walk, you are not allowed to bike through that all walk condition. Technically, I know people.
I've definitely done that before.
Many people do, and I know people who've been ticketed for that. But that's technically the law. So to be very safe about that, if you dismount your bike, you can walk through that all walk condition and then remount your bike. That's technically legal. So just some things to some legal minutia to be mindful of. But the best way in a busy business district, for instance, back to sidewalks, the best way to be on the sidewalk is to be walking your bike. You could be ticketed if you're riding. And also, it's unfriendly, it's dangerous, it's blocking people who might need that space in that sidewalk. So something else that we teach people is if you're on a sidewalk that you're allowed to be on, it's a pedestrian place, it's a pedestrian space, so go a pedestrian pace. So you're walking or you're going at a walking speed.
Well, let's talk about the role that cars and drivers play. What should drivers be doing or be aware of when it comes to the rights that bikers have and how they can be more conscientious on the road?
I mean, first of all, just be friendly, share the road. Everyone who's using the road is just trying to get from point A to point B and to do it safely and to do it in a way where they're not being, endangered by others, right? Or feeling like they're being like attacked by other people, right? So just be mindful of other people and be courteous. And I think that our city is getting better in this regard. And also just operate under the assumption that other road users have the same right to the road that you do, because they do. So when there's a bike in front of you and they're going a little bit slower than you are, it's okay. Just wait till you have an opportunity to pass them, and pass them with at least 4 feet, because that is the law. And if not, just wait. And I think that's like the real key thing, is just that sort of mutual understanding and appreciating each other's right to the road. And I would add to that as well, just to also be extra aware as a car driver. I know cars are full of even more distractions than they used to be. And people are often looking at their phones, which is illegal. To be holding your phone while you're driving, don't do it. But really just have that extra duty of care. Be very mindful, pay attention, to the other road users around you, and respect the right to be on the road.
When you're on a street where there isn't a bike lane and you are sharing with the car, do you recommend taking the lane where you kind of drive where the cars are going, you're taking up that full lane, or sharing the lane so that you're to the right and cars can go past you?
I always recommend that, bike riders should do what makes them comfortable. And taking the lane is often the thing that will make you safer and also make you feel comfortable for a variety of reasons. So one is, if you push over to the right, you're against parked cars. And if a parked car opens their car door, you're going to go into it. Or you're swerving around that car door and you might be swerving into the path of an approaching car behind you. Whereas if you take the lane, you already kind of control that space in the middle of the lane. Also, if you get close passed by a car to your left, if you're already against a parked car, you're squeezed in. Whereas if you have a bit of a buffer space to your right, you have some room to swerve over to the right in that instance. So taking the lane, it's a very safe strategy. That said, being a good neighbor on the road means also recognizing that, if you can let a car pass you, let them pass you, if you want. If it's safe for you to do so, you don't need to endanger yourself for the convenience of others. But it's up to you. If it seems like it's safe to let a car around you, then there's no reason not to do that.
And then something, a little bit more unique to Pittsburgh is biking across bridges, using bridges on your commute. Is there anything special to know related to biking on bridges?
So first of all, everything I said about not riding on sidewalks is no longer the case on a bridge. On a bridge, you can use the sidewalk. It's often the safest place to get across a bridge, unless that bridge has wide shoulders or bike lanes on it. So yeah, don't think that you have to ride on the deck of the bridge. You can ride on the sidewalk on pretty much every bridge in Pittsburgh. So for many of our bridges, 40th Street Bridge, which is right by us in Lawrenceville, that's a really good bridge to take the sidewalk on. 31st Street Bridge is a good bridge to do that. 16th Street Bridge, and so on and so forth. And then the last bridge I'm going to call out that we're really excited about is the Davis Ave Bridge, which was installed last winter, I believe. And that is a bike and pedestrian only bridge, and it's beautiful. And really hats off to the city of Pittsburgh for creating such a nice amenity just for pedestrians and bike riders.
Yeah, I really hope to see more of that in the city.
Me too.
Is there anything else you think it's important for people to know in order to be, conscientious bikers and stay safe on the road?
Wear a helmet. So as an adult, there is no law in Pennsylvania that says you have to wear a helmet.
Huh.
If you're over 12 years of age, technically you don't have to wear a helmet, but you still have a brain that's very vulnerable and your head. You should protect yourself. And it's a very easy thing that you can do, which will make an enormous difference.
And there's some very fashionable ones
absolutely.
Now.
They're fashionable. They're aerodynamic. Sometimes they can suck the air in ways that'll cool your head off better than not wearing a helmet can. So they say. So, but I would highly recommend it. Bike Pittsburgh will give you a free helmet at our Operation Illumination events. Those happen a couple times a year. Our next one is going to be October 29th. It's going to be in Sheridan. So stay tuned to the Bike Pittsburgh social media for more information about that. And also, we're giving out bike lights, and that's something else you need. So after dark, it is extremely dangerous and against the law to be riding without front and rear bike lights. So if you stop by one of those events, we'll give you a free set. You can also contact me, ted@bikepgh.org. You arrange a time. I will give you a set of bike lights or a bike helmet. I just want to make sure that you have those pieces of safety equipment. Also in Pittsburgh, it gets very dark here sometimes. There are certain neighborhoods, you're almost next to a park or you're in the woods. It gets super dark. It's really important that you have some kind of lights on.
So it sounds like expanding trails, implementing the Idaho stop. Those are some of the things you'd like to see here. What else would you like to see to make Pittsburgh even more bike friendly?
So something that our listeners might want to participate in is the Week Without Driving, which is starting from September 29th to October 5th. And we're not saying this is an opportunity to, we don't want people to boycott cars or driving for its own sake. But what we want people to do is to think about other ways of getting around the city. Nearly 30% of Allegheny County residents don't own a car, and they have to use public transit, they have to walk, they have to bike, find other ways to get around. So we invite people to try bike commuting during that time, just to see what that experience is like. And maybe, they'll find that is something that they want to try themselves, but also they might think about the experience of bike commuters and the kinds of resources that bike commuters might need to feel safer in the city. So you might have heard about the Penn Avenue right-sizing project in the Strip. That's something that we would love to see completed. The Strip District has been a vital commuting thoroughfare for years because it's flat. It gets people downtown.
I know that one's a little controversial. Some business owners just sued the city over it.
I think that there's been a lot of misunderstanding of what this project is meant to do and what it will do and about the scope of the project. So this is a high injury area that we want to be safe. We want to feel safe when we travel through the neighborhood, when we travel to the neighborhood, right? We're going there to shop. We're going there to have coffee and other beverages, right? We're also big fans of the Strip District, and we want to be safe while we go there.
Ted, thank you so much for all of these great tips. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. If you want to learn more about what the city's calling that Penn Avenue right-sizing project, you can go to the city's Engage website, read about the project, what it involves, what it does not involve, and we'll link a story in our show notes about the lawsuit that some business owners recently filed. And of course, you know, we officially kicked off this fall membership campaign today. If you want to support the work that we do, all the ways we try to help Yins stay in the know and get some discounts and some freebies, like one of our limited edition tote bags, you can tap in at membership.citycast.fm. We will be back tomorrow with more from around the city. We'll talk to you soon.
I think I'm always nervous about holding up the bus, annoying people with the time it takes me to kind of maneuver that bike rack.
It's fine.
People can deal.